Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Cabin Fever podcast. It's Monday, July the 20th. I hope you're having a great day. I know I am here. You know, there's one thing that I like to tell everyone that watches the show, and that is if you're going to do something, you might as well have fun doing it. Just have as much fun as you possibly can. Now I don't know what to do with my hands. I just don't know what to do with my hands. Do I pick my nose? I mean, what do I do? I don't know. Those of you who are listening on the audio version, we've got the Infinity Gauntlet and the Avengers Gauntlet. These are pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Anyway, I'm going to hand these off to my trusty assistant over here. Man, it's a great day today. How's everybody doing? Hopefully you're having a great day wherever you are. I'm joined right now by Jody and Luke, who are over there at the tech booth. And
hello.
Yeah, it's good to have you guys here today. Okay, everybody well?
We're good. Sorry.
Yeah, I think you need to kill the sound on that one computer there, so we get rid of that echo.
Okay.
So, all right. So we got a lot to talk about today. It's a great show planned for you today. We have a couple of guests that are going to join us. Last week, there's been all kinds of talk about what people in schools are going to be doing for this year. And so we've got a couple of guests today. And then on Wednesday's program, we've got a couple of more guests to help people kind of navigate those waters of online learning and that kind of thing. So with that being said, let's get into it. All right. Yeah. So,
well, first of all, yeah, you talked about school.
So our guest today is going to be Professor Ted Mims of the University of Illinois Springfield, and it's also going to be Debbie Keaton, who is the principal of Ridge Christian Academy here in Davenport, Florida. We're going to be talking about online learning and going back in post-COVID days and things like that.
What I was going to say is, I was thinking with, the Infinity Gauntlets that you are, needing to. Like you're a kid. You're a kid at heart.
Yeah.
Right? Would you say that you are?
You think?
So I was like, perfect. We've got teachers on here today. Perfect. You are going to be able to, have fun with that. So anyway, So what is going on today?
Well, today there is something I read in the paper this morning. It was really actually pretty cool. They are the good folks at Country Time Lemonade.
Oh, yes.
Which, if you're a lemonade drinker, there's only a few, selections out there, but the good ones. But as it stands, those folks are going to be helping people who are young folks, young folks who are going to be doing lemonade stands this year and haven't been able to do it because of COVID. So they are helping kids to get stimulus checks.
That's crazy.
To create
but
their
it's
own
great.
Interaction-free lemonade stands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Contactless.
Yeah, contactless.
Yeah.
Right?
And so
call in their order.
So if you want to, what your kids need to do is they need to make some images of what their lemonade stand was going to look like, and then you'll send that into there's a company or a web page. It's all in the paper today, but it's through Country Time's website. And on their website, you'll be able to go and I'm getting a really bad echo, and I don't know where it's coming from. But sorry if I sound distracted. That's where it's coming from. So hold on one second. I think I found it. All right, there it is. It's probably right there. All right. So what happens is they will allow you to send your pictures of your kids' lemonade stand in, a little description, and what are they going to use money for. And if they are chosen, they will get a $100 gift card to be used however they want.
See, if your kids are really smart, they'll start an Uber Eats lemonade stand.
Yeah. Hey.
Sell your lemonade on Uber Eats, put it on Postmates.
My God, that's genius.
I like it. Huh.
Yeah, I mean that's
we
actually smarter than just.
We already got one kid in here that's working on it right now.
Yeah, he's in his room right now, working on his lemonade stand is going to look like.
He's doing a pretty good job.
I had heard a story about someone that started a restaurant on Postmates and Uber Eats, and what they were doing was just buying frozen meals from the grocery store, heating them up, and selling them out of their kitchen.
That seems awful.
Well, I mean,
they made a ton of money. They made a ton of money.
Is that against the law, or is that something you're not supposed to do?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I thought it was smart.
I think it's brilliant.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
All right. Well, let's move on. What else is going on today? Yes, I'm disappointed we missed it yesterday. We weren't on the air, but yesterday was National Ice Cream Day. They were giving away ice cream all over the place in all kinds of different places, and so. But today is National Get Out of the Doghouse Day.
Oh my gosh.
Now, if you're scriptural and biblical, you would remember what this is similar to the year of Jubilee.
Yeah.
So, so it's just similar like that. Every 50 years, if you were a slave, you got freed. If you had debts, they got you got wiped away. All right, National Get Out of the Doghouse Day is a day that if somebody, you're ticked off at, or you're mad at, or they're in the doghouse of whatever, you just forgive them and let it go and restore them back to what they're supposed to be.
So they get out of the doghouse.
And if you are someone who is in the doghouse, then you are supposed to do whatever it is that you can do to help yourself get out of the doghouse.
Yes.
So, and that includes, paying attention, getting off technology, or ordering flowers, or
whatever.
Yeah, doing nice things for somebody. So, today is also National Lollipop Day. And that's nice because we braved Disney World over the weekend. We went, Jody and I and the kids went for our first time since February.
Yeah.
And they've only been open a few weeks, so they're working out the bugs and stuff. Still, it was a wonderful day to go.
Really
there was nobody there.
It was overcast.
Which park were you at?
We were at Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
Literally walked on every ride. It was really great.
It was great.
If you're thinking about coming to Disney, right now is the time to do it. There's just not a lot of folks there.
And shout out to Disney. I mean, yes, they're dealing with a lot of stuff with the reservation system and bringing back people from being on furlough, but. Man, they do things top notch in their parks.
Yeah, they also have the mask police running around too.
They do, and that's good.
Yeah, well,
it's good.
Yeah, they do. You don't want to spread it. That's right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I say that to say today's National Lollipop Day, and Peyton bought this big giant 3-pack of lollipops while we were there at Goofy's candy store. So what they're telling you to do, if you want to celebrate today, grab a bag, take them to the office, grab a bag, bring them home, and enjoy a lollipop today.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember those lollipops with like the bug in the middle, like the scorpion or whatever?
Yeah.
At truck stops.
My favorite are the Lifesaver ones though. The ones with the hole in the middle, but the vanilla cream, it had like, cream and strawberry or cream and blueberry, or those were the best.
They were.
Oh my gosh. So what's your favorite flavor of lollipops out there, and what kind?
Yeah.
Do you like the big ones, the small ones? The all-day ones, they got those all-day suckers that are as big as this windscreen right here. So, all right, let's move on. Today is also National Moon Day, and for all of you folks that are a little bit mischievous, this is not what you think it is. Today is the day that we celebrate man walking on the moon. Today was a giant leap for man. All right, one small step for a man, a giant leap for mankind.
All the conspiracy theorists are going crazy.
Exactly. Like, that never happened. It was filmed in California on a soundstage. But anyway, the folks at NASA would disagree. If you go over to Cape Canaveral, you can actually go and climb around in the rocket ship that took them up there, and there's pieces of the moon there and all kinds of stuff. So, but anyway, today is National Moon History Day. They're encouraging people to post pictures of the moon.
Yeah, I've got some pictures on my phone.
Yeah, and
do that.
but thank God it's not the other kind of moon. So, there was a story I was telling Jody and Luke beforehand. A few years ago, we had a summer camp. We'd do summer camp every year in just outside of Henrietta, Oklahoma, and the guest speaker, a good friend of mine, David Vasquez, actually been on the program. He was driving my car, and after service was over with, he was going to McDonald's or someplace, just to grab something to eat, and had a couple of his guys with him. And so they're driving my Escalade, and all of a sudden this car comes ripping up next to him, and he looks over, and here's this butt hanging out the window.
The things you do at camp.
And the thing was, it was some of our college students who thought it was me and thought it would be funny to moon their instructor, which is not funny.
It's not funny.
But anyway, the funny part about it is David laughed.
It's a little funny.
And he goes, because the guys that did it had on leopard underwear.
Right.
So they were outed and busted right there.
Yes.
So we will not say other names because these men have all gone on to become pastors of churches, respectable
but if you're
around
watching,
the world.
You know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are. So anyway, so also lastly, today is National Pennsylvania Day, the birthplace of your mom. So
Happy Pennsylvania
Sharon
Day to
today
Mama.
is
And
National
her
Pennsylvania
sisters
Day.
and brother.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's what's going on in the world today. Let's get to our guests. Our first guest today, we got two guests with us today, is the retired professor from the University of Illinois in Springfield. He was the computer science department head and was actually a pioneer in the development of online learning. He is a member of the Hall of Fame at the university and is also a good friend of ours. We see him at the events, and we're so glad to have him on the program today. Please welcome Professor Emeritus Ted Mims. Ted, how are you? It's good to have you on the show today.
I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me.
Man, it's so good to see you. So good to have you. Are you holding up well since COVID started?
Yes, I haven't had it, hopefully.
That's always a good thing. Are you staying busy though? That's the. I guess you're retired now, so you don't really need to stay too busy.
No, I find plenty to do, yard work and visiting and taking care of grandkids some, visiting people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, well, let's just get right into it. I know that right now there's a lot of folks that are trying to decide how they feel about this new way of learning. But you were actually kind of a pioneer in this. You know, I think you were telling me it was about 15 years ago that you adopted this when it was still kind of new and fresh in your department there at the university.
Yes, we actually started our bachelor's degree online in computer science in 2003. So it's been 17 years since we started it.
Now, the question that I know is on everybody's mind, because I know that it's obviously different for elementary and high school students, but this whole new way of learning online is just really started to get some people scared. And the reason that we really wanted to have you on today was obviously you were very successful with it. I know you shared with me some of the successes, but how were you able to sell that to students coming in and new students that really kind of made them feel like they weren't getting shorted anything?
Well, the major advantage for students was that a lot of our students had already started a degree somewhere, but got a job in computers or somewhere, were working, so it was difficult for them to come on campus to complete a degree. So by being online, they could get their degree and work at their own pace in a sense and get their bachelor's degree. And it really worked out well in that situation. We really turned things around for our program and got more students. It increased our enrollments, probably doubled it.
Now, did you have some apprehension from any of the students at first that thought, I'm going to try this and I'm not really sure what the results are going to be?
I don't remember being too concerned about it. I think we had started to incorporate some of it into our classes before we actually went online with a degree. So people were getting taste of how it would be. Yeah.
Now, as somebody who was implementing into this what was it like for you at that stage?
Busy. One of the things about teaching online is that it's much more demanding than teaching in a classroom. Students in a classroom, at the college level at least, typically would not ask many questions during the class time. But when they were online, they would bombard you with emails and questions about the problems they were working on, send you materials, and they expected 24-hour turnaround, probably faster than that, but at least they wanted some response within 24 hours of posting a question. And it was a lot more work teaching online than teaching in a classroom.
Now, as somebody who was obviously an educator and very good at it for as many years, I know you shared with me that you would sit and answer emails all the way up until 11:30, 12 o'clock at night.
Yes.
Did it really change for you? I know that the physical aspect of it changed, but did it really change for you as far as, the passing of information, and really change? Did it really change how you taught?
Well, the actual information didn't change. We delivered the same information. A lot of it was printed text materials that we posted for students and gave them samples like we would do in class, but there was no real interaction like you have between you and I here on Zoom. But in the classroom, you've had direct interaction. But when we had online students, most of it was through emails rather than having discussions online.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't schedule discussions at a certain time because we had people all over the world in programs.
So that obviously is a pro for something like this, is that there was a lot of people that can join in from wherever they are and whatever they're doing.
At whatever time.
Yeah. Yeah. This is Ted Mims. He is a professor emeritus at the University of Illinois in Springfield and a pioneer in online learning. And during this time of COVID and everybody's just so unsure about exactly what education is really going to look like, for you, how would you maybe, as a success story, let's just start there. Let's say that. You told me some of the successes of the program there. As a way of kind of helping people feel good about what's getting ready to go on in this next school year, tell us about some of the successes of your program there.
Well, in my opinion, the students in the online degree program were typically harder working students and did a better job on their assignments than the typical on-campus student would do. But we had students that had some disabilities, I guess you could call them, but they didn't really interact well with people. But they could work on a project. You give them an assignment, they could complete the project, do probably the best job of anybody in the class, but they didn't work well in groups. So this gave them an opportunity to work at their own speed with their own team. In a sense, they were their team. So it let you diversify and do things different, and people could find their own niche, I guess, to be able to work and complete their degrees.
Now, your program evidently became very successful. You were telling me that you guys started to get over, your budget was met, and then you had a big surplus because of the students that were coming in, and you became so successful, and people really kind of settled into it, didn't they?
Yes. Our program, if it hadn't been for online, our program would have been just a little small program, but we grew, and I would think we were one of the largest undergraduate and master's degree programs combined in the nation. We had at one point, 1,300 majors, and that was a lot for a computer science program.
My goodness, that's a lot. This is Professor Ted Mims of the University of Illinois in Springfield, emeritus. And Ted, now as people start to really turn the corner on getting their minds wrapped around the school year, can you offer us any kind of encouragement to embrace this new season?
Well, I think it's an opportunity to look forward and see things that can happen. I once heard a speaker talk about, he said that people with sight can see what's at the corner, and people with vision can see what's coming around the corner. Well, this is an opportunity to see what's coming around the corner. Workplaces now, I don't know that they'll ever go back to being like they were with people working in brick and mortar buildings with everybody shut up in rooms and working together like that. There's going to be a lot of people working from home because the best talent is going to be spread across the city or country, and you're going to try to get the best people, and if you can get them to work from home. And that. So it's an opportunity to see something that's coming in vision and to grow rather than just being confined to the way you've always done it.
That's so good. That's so good and great wisdom. Ted, we just thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate you giving us that wisdom, and congratulations on your retirement and on your success. And
But I did, yes, I did teach 50 years. When I retired, I had 50 years of teaching.
oh my goodness, I didn't realize it had been that long. Wow. That's awesome. Congratulations. Thank you so much for that wisdom. And we pray that you have a great rest of your day, and we hope to see you soon at one of the events.
Okay, well, I'll sign off. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ted. That's Ted Mims, Professor Emeritus of the University of Illinois in Springfield. He was the department head for the computer science degree and a real trailblazer and somebody who really started to embrace online learning. And so there's so much talk about it. There are some places that are listening to us right now that, man, they're going all online learning this year. There are some places they're going to be doing a hybrid of a little bit online, a little bit in person. There are some schools that are embracing full on the students back into the classroom. And so what we're trying to do during this week is to answer some questions and really give you some encouragement of some people from some people who are in the field who are going to help you to really embrace what's going on, so that when you make these changes and make these decisions and have to face things that you haven't had to face before, you can go back and listen to this podcast and hopefully get some information. My next guest is somebody who was really thrust into the middle of it this past year. As many of us sat and watched COVID really start to shut down the rest of the world, I've had the pleasure of knowing this next guest my entire life. Literally, her and her husband came to the hospital to see my parents and I right after I was born. She grew up in the same hometown I did. Now she is the founder and principal of Ridge Christian Academy in Davenport, Florida. That's where my kids go to school, and I'm so excited to have her on the program today. Please welcome Debbie Keaton. Hi, Debbie. How are you? It's good to see you.
I'm doing well. How are you?
Really well. How's everything over there at the school? Are you doing okay?
We're getting it together.
Yeah.
And praising God for it.
I know that it's been such an unusual time since March. I've never seen anything like this. And in all your years in education, have you ever seen anything remotely like this?
No, we had just finished on Friday our site visit for reaccreditation with Cognia. So we had been months working on that. When they walked off the campus, we got the news that we were going to be closing. So our teachers went from one challenge right back to another.
Yeah. And so this year, I know that you've already kind of made your decision that you guys are going to have the students back in the classroom this year, right?
Absolutely. We've looked at all of the options. We are looking at our parents. Many of them need to work. We're not dealing with 30 or 40 in a classroom. And we feel like we have safety procedures in place that will do the very best that we can do to keep our teachers, our staff, and our students safe.
So talk about, just for a second though, those parents that are afraid to send their kids back to class. What can, I know that you're doing everything you can, but
right.
But what specifically are those things?
Okay, for us, it's looking at our entrance. How are we getting the students on campus in the morning? We've had to, we love our morning assembly where the whole school is together. Obviously, that isn't going to happen. They'll go directly to classrooms, doing temp checks right at the beginning before they get out of the car, wearing masks when it's appropriate for them to be in close contact when we can't social distance. And we have the opportunity, because we have space, to get them out of the classroom as much as possible. And that's one of the things that we've been told is, don't coop them up all day in a classroom. Get them out, do some lessons outside, fresh air, be in the sunshine. So anything that we can do to offset the effects of maybe coming in contact with the virus or being cooped up too much, we're trying to offset that. But maintaining the social distancing, masking when needed, lots of hand washing and hand sanitizer.
Now that's got to be a challenge in and of itself, is just getting a bunch of kids to wash their hands.
Right. Well, our kindergartners at the end of even before we had to shut down, they had already learned their song that went tops of your hands, bottom of your hands, around your fingers, around your thumbs. So they're singing and they're really taking part in what we're doing. They're understanding. I think it's procedures, knowing procedures.
Yeah. Now, Debbie, you also have a daycare there where you stayed open during that entire time, right?
Right. We were basically, it was recommended for daycares to stay open if they could. And so that also gave us the opportunity to rethink and revamp all of our policies for cleaning, for how we monitor the students, all of that. And so it's not like we're starting fresh, but we're just being able to expand on things that we have been doing.
Yeah, I know that the regulations or I guess the requirements that they kept on daycares to keep them open, I know that you're probably using those same requirements when it comes to meeting the rest of the classrooms all the way across the board.
Absolutely. So we're looking at CDC. We're looking at what the governor is saying to us. Also looking at the educational aspect. I have a webinar tomorrow, actually, with the NWEA, and we're looking at what are our children losing by not being in school, and how does that weigh against the possibility of maybe getting sick. So those are some of the things. It's not just do I come to school or do I not come to school, but what are the effects of both of those things.
This is Debbie Keaton. She is the founder and principal of Ridge Christian Academy here in Davenport, Florida. Those of you who are listening elsewhere, that's just outside of Orlando and just outside of Lakeland. We're kind of stuck in between there, not too far from Disney. Debbie, as we start to wrap this up here, let me just ask you this. If you have a parent that shows up and says, I'm really kind of scared, I'm really kind of freaking out, what kind of words of encouragement are you giving them?
Obviously, we have the power of prayer on our side. And so we've been doing a lot of that. And we have had parents that are coming in and they're struggling with that choice. Some of them are saying, I don't have a choice. I have to go to work. I have to provide for my family. We're a smaller school. We don't have the ability to offer both options. Our teachers did a phenomenal job when we had to go virtual. And I was very proud of the work that they put into it. And it was a lot of work. What we're doing now is tweaking that so that if we would at some point have to go back virtual, our students and our parents are well trained. So it's not that, oh my goodness, what do we do effect that we had before. So we're coming back looking at what are we doing now in the classroom, but what are we going to do should we have to leave the classroom? Those parents that are struggling, my best thing for you is you have to look at your family. You have to know, can you do a virtual? Then you may need to look at some of the virtual online programs. Unfortunately, we're not able to offer that along with in class. We're doing everything we can to make it safe in the classroom and be prepared should we need to go virtual.
That's so awesome. Debbie, thank you so much for your time. Give our love to Ed and everybody there at the office, and we'll be seeing you real soon.
All right. You have a blessed day.
All right. Thanks a lot. That's Debbie Keaton. She is the principal and founder of Ridge Christian Academy over in Davenport, just off Highway 27. If you'd like to get some information about Ridge Christian Academy, if you're in the area, it is just ridgechristianacademy.com, and you can pick up information on that. They're a great school. That's where my kids go to school, and I'm surprised he didn't say anything to us because we haven't gotten registered yet for the year. But anyway, until the next show, that's going to be Wednesday. Sorry, I got distracted there for a second. Wednesday, I've got another set of great educators who are going to be talking to us about this next coming year and how things can be changed and grasped and understood. I've got the principal of one of the charter schools in Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and she was also the nanny to our kids, our first nanny, when they were first born. She grew up in our youth group. I was her youth pastor. She's now married to the guitar player from our youth group. It's Emily Gregorich Redmond. She's going to be joining us on Wednesday. And then her mom, Amanda, has been an educator for 35 years, and she's going to be joining us on the program to talk all about especially the virtual version of education here in this post-COVID world. It is a very informative series of shows this week, but we hope that you're going to get something out of it, something that you can use and actually put into practice. Until Wednesday, for Luke and for Jody, my thanks to Ted Mims and Debbie Keaton. Share the podcast today. Go ahead and click that share button and answer. Don't forget the question of the day. What is your favorite flavor of lollipops, and what brand do you like the best? We'll see you Wednesday. Have a great rest of your day. Get outside and break the cabin fever.